joined in studio by the one, the only Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura. Hikaru, congratulations, that was a great win.
No, thank you. It was, yeah, it seemed like a pretty smooth game overall, despite some big time usage by both of us in the opening, I guess you could say.
So would you say that Title Tuesday was great preparation for today?
I don't know if Title Tuesday was great preparation, but kind of just playing Blitz, I just took on d4 and went knight f5 without even really thinking. And if I hadn't played Blitz yesterday, maybe I would have used more time to do it. So I thought it was just very well played. I think the main thing is Alireza, when he thought forever to take on f6 with the pawn, I think he thought he was better. I think he thought he was better, and he's trying to press for the win. And then he kind of had to realize he's worse, and I think mentally it was very hard for him to recover from that, and he just kind of went down without a fight.
Two related questions. There another surprise in the opening, which was knight c6. Could you walk us through your immediate reactions to, first of all, knight c6, and then sort of blow by blow, what were you thinking after g takes f6?
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is, when he played knight c6, there are a couple things. I don't know, actually go back instead of knight c6. Yep. If black plays bishop e7, bishop c4, bishop e6, bishop b3, knight c6, I think I had this against Alireza in the World Rapid in it's Moscow in 2019. I think I had this exact position. So like during the game when he played knight c6, I had looked at something very briefly yesterday on this move, and then kind of I just chose over the board to do something different. And so I played bishop c4, bishop e6, and then I thought, okay, because he took 10 minutes to play knight c6, then he plays bishop e6 immediately. I realized that he was trying to transpose into sort of our game or some line that I wasn't really expecting. And so therefore I just decided to play knight d5. Mainly I did it because I didn't see anything wrong with it. I suspect it's probably a pretty silly move objectively. I think black should be fine, but I didn't see a reason that I'm like worse or anything. So I thought, okay, whatever, I get out of prep and just play chess. And then he used time. Yeah, he played rook c8, and I used like 20 minutes because I really didn't want to take on f6. I basically wanted to be like, I wanted to play bishop b6 maybe. Yeah, like I want to go something like bishop b6 was one idea, or even knight g5 actually instead. Actually, go back. Yeah, sorry, knight g5. Yeah, but then he plays bishop d5, knight d5. And I mean, I spent forever trying to make pawn takes work because queen takes d5, queen a5 is just a draw. I mean, black maybe is marginally better even, but I mean, shouldn't be anything special. But I spent forever trying to make pawn takes. Queen a5. I think queen a5 and then like c3, knight e7, and something like knight e4, knight takes d5, and like queen g4 or something like this. Like I really wanted to play this, and after like rook d8 or rook c6, just castles, and who cares? Throw all caution to the wind. But I mean, I kind of realized that objectively this has to be bad. I mean, this is probably what you would play against in a Blitz game. Yeah, you would like this position. I mean, it's probably unpleasant if you don't have like a lot of time here with black. I mean, you can't go bishop e7. I mean, it feels tricky, but with correct play, it should obviously just be winning for black. So I took forever, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll just be simple and just play just standard moves with knight f6. And then when Alireza didn't take right away, I realized that he was going to take with the pawn and try to be ambitious. And I think it just ends up being a mistake. I think for whatever reason after pawn takes, I think he just assumed that I was going to have to trade on e6 or something of that nature. And I just don't end up having to do that, and he just ends up a little bit worse, I think. Although it's funny, computer says I'm supposed to take on e6? Huh. And play like c3. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, black gets this big center here. Maybe f5, maybe d5. I mean,
but also the engine, I guess, doesn't have the depth that.
And we thought bishop b3 was very strong practically, also.
Yeah, I saw some structures like this, and I thought it's probably okay. But it's like, why do I want to do this? It's better be principled. So bishop b3, and I thought after bishop b3, this I thought was the moment where Alireza. I mean, I don't know if maybe knight a5 is just bad, but I thought knight a5 was really the only try here. I thought after knight a5, bishop d5, knight c4. White's probably better somehow after castles, knight b2, queen b1. But I wasn't 100% sure. Like trade on d5, knight c4, queen b7, and like queen d7 maybe. Queen a6 and f5. I mean, f5, rook a b1. I mean, this is kind of what I saw something like this, and I thought it should be good, but I wasn't sure. But once he went knight e7, I mean, the reason that I think knight e7 was bad is because at this point he was still ahead on the clock. But after knight e7, I play like 5 moves without having to think. I mean, I just castle, and the next, castles, and he has to go like this and d5, and it just, I mean, it's bad because if you compare this to, say, the Shevchnikov, there's a line where you play knight e7 early to force knight f6, but I think black always has the possibility to castle queenside. And I kind of realized during the game that when I compare this one to the Shevchnikov with the rook on c8 and no castles, no castling queenside, it should just be better for white objectively.
Yeah, it was a costly, and in a way, comparing that to costly tempo. Rook c8 is such a natural move, but as you're saying, you lose that right. So as the game continued here, Hikaru, it looked like, after queen e2, very principled.
Yeah.
Where was the moment where you felt like it was better for you, and then you were taken to the next level?
I mean, I basically thought here already it's better, and the main reason is because the time had already evened out. I knew Ali Reza, when he took with the pawn, thought he was better and he wasn't. And then I have this very obvious idea, just stack the rooks on the d file, and I mean, I basically played all these moves almost instantly, and the problem is I just don't know what black is supposed to do here, really. I mean, it just looks bad. I wasn't sure what he's supposed to do. I mean, maybe develop the way he did, but I think it's already just very, very hard to play. And I mean, he played bishop g7, which is a human move, of course. I actually thought he probably should play rook g8, and then I don't know, like g3, bishop e7 or something. But again, also for a human, like, you also feel kind of stupid because the king is just sitting on e8 here. So eventually you assume something bad is going to happen in the center, like rook d5, rook d1, maybe queen c2. I mean, again, computer probably says there are no problems because you can go rook d5, rook d8, of course. But I mean, I don't think it was practical because, again, from the get-go, when he took with the pawn, he thought he was better. Right. I could definitely feel that he thought he was better. He felt very aggressive, and then to kind of have to come to the realization you're not better, and then suddenly defend a position where not only are you like you're not just a little worse, you're much worse, and there are no clear ideas. I think it was just too much for him. And what he did in the game, I mean, I just didn't really. What he did made sense to me. It's what I expected, but again, I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to just like knight e7, maybe rook d7, and then what? Rook c7. I mean, okay, this is insane. Yeah.
And it's also, the evaluation is still sky high for white.
Yeah.
d6, yeah.
No, I mean, I just don't know what black is really supposed to do. There's no counterplay, and it's just a bad Shevchnikov, basically. That's what it's kind of turned into here. And I mean, I don't know if h3 is best, but I thought, okay, it creates a square for the king. And also it supports g4, because I really wanted to play g4 instead of h3. But if I go g4 right away, then he has like knight e7, rook d6, queen e4, and maybe the queen can go to g6. Maybe there's f5, h5 somewhere. I mean, it's still probably, again, knight g5.
f3, Jesus.
Oh man, knight g5. Wow. Okay.
How did you miss that?
Wow, that's beautiful.
That is really good. Just to show everybody so they understand what's happening here is f3, and this queen on e4 is trapped in the center of the board.
That's very nice. Yeah.
I think you can forgive yourself for not spotting that from like 8 moves away.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why I played h3, was because I thought I'd just support g4, just play like a logical move, create space for the king, go for g4, move later. And yeah, after c5, this was the last moment. I guess he could have tried a5. I think if he had played a5 here, I was actually going to just go g4. And I wasn't really sure. I mean, what's he supposed to play? Knight d4 is okay here, huh? Because I played g4, so now I no longer have my queens. Yeah, there's no path to h5 or g4 or anything. Maybe then this is actually quite reasonable for black to play a5. But yeah, still queen c2, queen e6, and yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it should still be better for white, but yeah, there's no clear-cut path. So this was the last moment, but I expected what he did because, again, at this point, he's getting low on time. There's no increment. Position is bad, and basically what he does, either I'm going to win or I'm not going to win. But it's like it's going to be very clear-cut one way or the other. So I kind of understood this idea. And yeah, I just played. I didn't see the win in all the lines right away, but I just assumed that. I thought that at the very worst, I'll always be able to draw with some bishop h6 takes, knight takes, and with the knight and the queen, there's no risk of losing. So I thought, why not just play it? And I mean, I think queen e4 is maybe the last mistake. Maybe he can go queen c4. I think after queen h5, it's still winning. But I thought maybe here he can somehow try to go some e4, rook e5 or something. I mean, like rook d8 first. Yeah, rook c d8 first. Yeah, rook a1, and then maybe you can try to get some e4, rook e5. I think it's still too slow. But with the queen on e4, there's no plan to dislodge the knight from f5. So I think after queen e4, it was just lost basically. I didn't see anything after this.
Yeah, rook a1 is really nice, and then rook a3, rook g3.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can probably even be slower with like some King H2. But once I saw, I mean, basically it took me a while to spot that after Bishop H6, Knight H6, King G7, Rook A3, that on F5 there's Queen G5. Because actually for a while I was looking at Knight F5, but after Knight F5, King H8, there's actually not a win. Or maybe it's still winning somehow. But I mean, for probably like 3 or 4 minutes, I was like, how's there no win in this position? Then I realized just Queen G5 instead of Knight F5, and it's quite
G6,
simple.
Knight F5.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. So I mean, there was nothing really that he could have done differently at this point. I think it's just he tried to be creative, and I mean, it's a beautiful forced mate here with just like Queen C5, King H2, and just Queen G7 next move. I mean, the Knight on F5 just it wins the game basically. So it's very nice to win the game like that, and also to win a game where it seemed like it was pretty smooth. Because the other games that I played were not what I would call smooth. The game against Fabiano, probably I should have won that around move 40. Instead, I made a real mess out of that. So it was quite nice to convert what seemed like a pretty smooth game today.
I have a question, sort of what you were mentioning about your preparation. You felt like he was trying to transposition back to familiar territory. And against Jan Nepomsky early in the event, it seemed like he had a line prepared, and then when Jan deviated, he went in the think tank and got in trouble. So do you think that's his youth showing, or what's happening when players like you and Jan are playing a move that comes unexpectedly to him?
I mean, it's hard for me to know because I don't know what his preparation was before the event, but I would kind of think that since he had so much time off, something like 9 months to prepare, probably he's been looking at so many lines up to like move 30 and different openings, and then when you get surprised at the board, I suspect that he was not really expecting it, or he's not used to it, and his reactions haven't been the best. So it's just it's tough. And also, I mean, to be fair though, I think after winning, if he hadn't won the last round, I'm not so sure he would have done what he did today. But after winning, he wanted to try to be aggressive. And again, as we've seen now, I think like in my game against Timur, Alireza against me today, and Fabiano against Duda, you try to be creative with black, and bad things seem to happen.
I have 2 rapid fire questions on the subject of Firouzja. One, I asked you before the tournament. Let me clarify. Do you have sort of a particular chip on your shoulder when you're playing Firouzja? Because, youngest participant in the field, and, a lot of talk about it, and you want to say, whoa, I'm not ready to pass on the torch to the younger generation just yet. Do you feel that motivates you, or is it you play the same kind of, you motivate yourself in the same way against everybody?
I mean, I don't think that matters, but there's a pretty famous clip out there of me saying that I'll play Alireza in the candidates and I'm going to beat him. So I guess I kind of had to live up to what I said on my stream. I'm sure people will find that clip somewhere. But no, I mean, I think the thing with Alireza though is the fact that I played the candidates in 2016. When I was quite a bit younger, and I didn't really do so well. I understand that for Alireza, this tournament is very different, and with it being his first time playing in it, I think for him there's a lot of pressure. For me, I don't really feel like I have to defend the older generation. I mean, I'm just going into it game by game. But I do think that for Alireza, there's a lot of pressure, and I also think the fact that he chose not to play for 9 months was a big mistake, because the problem is when you don't play for 9 months, if you don't have a good result, everyone's going to be very, very critical of that approach. And I have to say, I think most of the players who have tried to do something similar, maybe it's not 9 months, but like even 4 or 5 months where they don't play before the candidates, they generally don't do very well. So I think it was a big mistake. And he sort of lost that rhythm and sort of the momentum he had, because he was doing really, really well. I think he did well in the European Team Championship. Then he did well in the Grand Swiss. I mean, he was on fire, and then sort of just stopped for 9 months and not even play online. I think that was just a big mistake preparation-wise for this event.
Yeah, that was sort of my second cool question. He made this crazy decision not to play any online blitz, as far as I know, for something like 2 years. So he went complete cold turkey. Do you think that, what do you think of that decision? Do you think that impacted his growth in any way? Is that a reasonable decision in your mind?
I don't think it's smart. I think, as I said, he was on a roll. He was 2,800, playing very well. And when you have that momentum, I mean, I'll actually use Magnus as an example. There was this period in like 2011 or 2012, somewhere around there, maybe it was even 2010. But he got really hot. He did well. He did very well in this tournament in China. He just kept playing and dominating every event. And I think for Alireza, he should have. And I also think, you can say it's Alireza, his family, whatever management, whomever it might be, but I think they just didn't understand how different this event is from any other tournament. I mean, I've said it many times before, but this is the only tournament where you can finish second and you feel like you've just had a bad event. You know, it's like Fabiano. If he loses this game, I mean, I guess we're tied for second. But if Fabiano, let's just say he finishes on +2 or something, he wins another game somewhere, it's going to feel like a huge disappointment for him. And so I think just for Alireza and his team not understanding the difference, it was just probably lack of experience. But I think he'll have more chances, and I'm sure he'll learn and grow from what's happened here.
Well, quick question about second place feeling like a disappointment, because we all have heard what Magnus said. I know what you said, that you all think Magnus will play, but if we hold him to his word and Fabiano loses this game, you're tied for second place. So, you know, of course, going into the event, everyone's looking for first, but what does that mean to you, and you know, how are you feeling about that?
I mean, to use the classic line, I mean, I literally don't care. I'm just playing one game at a time. I mean, as I said, I think, you know, I think the thing is, you can't really rely on the unknowns. So obviously, I do have that in the very back of my mind, but it doesn't really play a role in terms of the tournament. And I just approach it game by game, because I mean, if it happens, it happens. But it's a hypothetical over which I have zero control. It's all up to Magnus whether he plays or doesn't play. So I'm just not. It doesn't really matter that much to me.
I've got one more question for you. You've been working hard even during the candidates. You stream Title Tuesday. You've been doing videos, going over your game, and obviously that's a huge opportunity that people have never had to just immediately get an inside viewpoint. How much additional confidence would you say it gives you to know that you've got a massive community following every move? And does that ever make you nervous, or would you say that that's always a net positive?
I mean, I think that's a huge net positive. I think the main way that I look at it is I just simply try not to embarrass myself in these tournaments that I play. I mean, from the first Grand Prix I played in Berlin, that's the only thing that I was thinking about, was trying to just have a good result, nothing else really. You know, I think knowing there are the fans out there, knowing there are the fans out there who will cheer for me even if I don't do well, that does make a difference. It takes a lot of the pressure off, for sure. And also, I think when you see the positivity, for example, let's just rewind. Assume that I was playing the candidates, and let's just say 2019 or 2018 or one of those years after 2016, but before the whole streaming boom. And I lost this game to Timur yesterday. It would have been the end of the world. I would have been very devastated, to put it mildly. And the fact that sort of there are the fans who are out there saying you still can play well, you can still do well. I mean, that really does help at the end of the day. And it's all been wild. So I'm having a good time.
But you are a fierce competitor, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that I would look at it is, for example, with the Grand Prix in Berlin when I got the wild card, if I didn't think that I could be competitive, I would not have played. If I was just going to show up, you know, if I was going to play Blitz against Daniel till 3 a.m. to catch a plane flight and then go play in Berlin, I would not have chosen to play. So basically, if I don't think that I can be competitive or I can't put in the work, then I'm not going to play the tournament. And that would have been the same for here. If I was going to say stream every day up until say a week before the event, I just simply would have not played. I would have given my spot away. So I try to do as much as I can, and it seems to be working. I mean, it's sort of been up and down. I mean, it's funny because actually after I lost this first round game, I for whatever reason, I felt like I was going to get my chances with white. And I feel like in some ways, doing the throwback to 2016, I feel like I'm sort of doing the Vishu, where in 2016, Vishu basically would win a game with white, lose a game with black, then win a game with white, and then lose with black. And I think he had something like 6 decisive games in a row in the middle of that tournament somewhere. So just trying, you know, I just feel like using that as the example. I'm just trying to win with white every chance I get.
And you lost round 1 in the Grand Prix, and then you bounced back and beat Levon the second time you got to play him. So do you think that there's something there? Because you do the same thing with Fabiano. And does losing to somebody like give you extra motivation?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just what happens in the opening, really. But certainly, the game against Levon obviously was much different than the game against Fabiano, because this game against Fabiano, sure, I can win, draw, lose, whatever, it doesn't change anything. But against Levon, I had to win that game, or I wouldn't have qualified. So I think as far as that game goes, I just, you know, you just try to get something where it's a little bit tricky, but also I think psychology matters a lot. Like in that game against Levant, I knew that if I could put him under some pressure, he traditionally struggles when it comes specifically to the candidates tournament. So yeah, just try to put them under pressure and see what happens. But I don't think there's any special motivation. I mean, a lot of people, especially on Reddit, are probably mad at me because I kind of ruined Fabiano's tournament by beating him. I thought it was funny to see some comments like, they're like, okay, so you ruined the tournament yesterday, so that's why you lost against Timur, which I thought was that was some good stuff. I really enjoyed seeing those comments, but I'm just having fun, not really worrying too much. And I think in the candidates, as I've also said, generally players tend to not play their best chess. I think we've seen a lot of mistakes. Many players have missed wins. Timur's game against Richard just being probably the most glaring example. And so I'm just trying to play good chess and not really think about the bigger picture. And so I think that's probably the single biggest reason I've done well in this event.
Okay, well, we are going to let you go. You've been here for a while. We really appreciate your time. But we have a fun video for you. So we're going to show you that and let's send you off.
Sure.
Can we say you're partially retired from chess? No, I'm not retired from chess. What gave you that impression? I'm playing the World Rapid and Blitz. I'm going to play the FIDE Grand Prix. I'm going to win it. I'm going to go beat Ali Reza in the candidates.
You guys found it. Yep.
So maybe you're the prophet. I know you're sitting next to Danya, but
I knew you guys would find it. Yeah, I knew you guys would find it. But yeah, that's a great clip. Yeah.
Last quick thing. What's your Starbucks order? What's in that cup?
I actually don't know because Chris goes and gets it for me every day. So I think it's just regular coffee. I think, but I'm actually I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I'll try not to crash your dinner like the other night. So Hikaru, have a great rest of your evening, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
luck tomorrow.